Number 6. Cryptid attacks. Fireworks might be fun to you, but a headache to your neighbors and other creatures like cats, dogs, or wild animals. But these boys didn't care about that. So they messed with fireworks in the jungle, and it stirred up something way more sinister. What you're going to see in this YouTube video is the unthinkable and bone-chilling encounter that they had in North Georgia woods. It had been quite the night, with the boys having a ball setting off fireworks. Everything was fine until they heard a deep, ominous growl echoing through the trees. Instead of packing it up and heading for home like any normal, sensible person, they decided to go and check it out, and that was a big mistake. What they discovered was something straight out of a nightmare. A big, pale, humanoid creature with ghostly white skin. Initially, the boys seemed to think that this wasn't at all a serious situation. They laughed nervously and even tried to provoke the creature, because they did not think that this would happen next. It visibly ticked off and went from being just creepy to right out terrifying. It started chasing after them, and that's when it hit the boys. They were not just dealing with some harmless prank or some guy in a costume. This thing was a life-threatening creature. It was made to be even creepier by the color, like a red liquid spread across its body, and it seemed to look like some zombie apocalypse movie. The boys ran for their lives, but what exactly was this creature? Was it a skinwalker, a madman like a psycho killer, or totally something else? What do you think? Number 5. Strange creature. This recently revealed footage is freaking people out, and it's not hard to see why. It's called the Michigan Dogman, the Gable film, and it's been making waves since early 2024. Someone found an old camera in the Michigan woods with the film still intact. What's wild is that the roll also includes regular, everyday scenes, which makes the whole thing feel way more legit. Harmlessly enough, it starts with a kid driving a snowmobile. Nothing too exciting. Then it cuts to a group driving around in a truck. Right out of nowhere, they spot something unusual off in a field. Curiosity takes over, and they jump out of the truck with their camera rolling to go and check it out. What happens next is pure nightmare. They find some sort of monster. It's initially just standing there, but then it pops forward and starts to crawl ridiculously fast towards them. Freaked out, they run back to the truck. If you see the footage, you can still make out enough to be seriously creeped out. This thing doesn't move like anything we know. Scientists who have looked at this say the way it moves is completely unnatural. Its shoulders and front limbs have this weird jerky motion, and its back arches and kicks in a way that just doesn't match any animal we've ever seen. People have come up with theories, maybe it's a bear, but experts have shut down that idea. It looks like a human-shaped thing, but it's way too broad and muscular to be a person. So what's the deal? Did they actually catch the Michigan Dogman on camera, or is there some other explanation? Drop your thoughts in the comments down below. Number 4. Disappearance of a hiker. This one is downright bone-chilling. This footage was taken by a hiker named Jeff Kessler while camping alone in Oregon, but this was the last footage ever recorded by him. After that, he went missing. His camera was found at the scene, and what it showed is enough to make your skin crawl. What he recorded was a warm evening, just another camping night, and Jeff had settled into his tent, ready to turn in for the night. But now he was sitting up in his tent because of some strange noises outside. When he listened closer, he got that uneasy feeling, and that's when he started freaking out, realizing whatever it was not an animal. It sounded almost human, but it was not human, and that thought really shook him to the core. Jeff's voice became shaky as he talked to whatever was out there. Attempting to sound tough, he called out, and it's at this point that things took a grim turn. The tent suddenly tears open from the outside. Panic overwhelmed Jeff, and he did something without thinking. Grabbing the camera, he took off running through the night, dropping the camera in the process as he was extremely panicked. His voice cracked as he was running. The camera was still rolling as Jeff tried to navigate his way around the dark. And just before the video cuts off, there's this one image that will forever stay in your mind. Way off in the distance, there's this tall, shadowy humanoid figure coming towards Jeff. It's enough to send chills down your spine, making you wonder whether that figure had something to do with Jeff's disappearance. The very next day, a group of rangers discovered Jeff's campsite. His belongings were littered all over the place. His phone, camera, everything except Jeff. There was no sign of him. Search teams combed the area, but he was never found. And to this day, nobody knows whatever happened to Jeff Kessler. His disappearance is still one of those creepy, unsolved mysteries that nobody can ever fully understand. Also, there's no explanation to date exactly what that creature was. Was it a humanoid or a skinwalker? What do you think? Number 3. Chilling encounter. A group of adventurers are in the woods on a dark, spooky night. Instead of panicking or running away upon sensing that something is amiss, they chose to confront whatever it was out there and get what awaits them. And what awaited them was chilling. It's around midnight and they spot something near a large tree, in the middle of 2 thick branches. At first glance, it's not human. A figure on the tree in the shadows, dressed in white, can be seen. Its hair long and messy, and its skin deathly pale. It screams ghostly. But suddenly this figure starts laughing, loud and hysterical, like something out of a nightmare. It's not the laugh of a normal person. The laugh is haunting and almost demonic, as if the laughter is coming from a creature and not the human being. And then, as the camera zooms in, you can start to make out more details, but what they see will make your blood run cold. The figure is like a girl, but her expressions and the way she's moving seem all wrong. It's as if she's been possessed, taken over by something dark and evil. That's what explains the fear-inducing laughter that is somewhat eerie. Now, some might say that it's all faked and just a good prank, but for most people, there's no doubt that this is real, an actual paranormal encounter. What they're seeing isn't staged or fabricated. It feels like a brush with something supernatural, something demonic. But here's where it gets even weirder. Right in the middle of the footage, the camera cuts, and we never find out what happens next. Did the explorers get away safely? Was the possessed figure still there, waiting for them? The video ends, leaving all of us hanging, wondering what went down in that haunted woods. Number 2. Ghostly being. Back in 1957, Emerson County became the backdrop for some pretty weird stories, strange sightings, and eerie happenings. There were multiple reports that could send a chill down your spine. However, the mystery did not unravel until 1997, when something very creepy came to light. A camera was found deep in the forest, about 2 miles from the county. No one ever came forward to claim it. The police took the camera, but again, they could not locate any owners. However, it was what was recorded with that camera that would bring the nightmares. On initial viewing, the tape appears very simple. It's a film of a couple just enjoying a refreshing walk through the woods, filming the trail that they're taking as they walk through the trees. But then it starts to get weird. You can see something moving between the trees and like some ghostly apparition. At first, it's easy to miss, sort of fading with the natural environment, but after a few moments it appears again, and it keeps showing up. That's when you figure out it's not something from nature. The woman, her voice shaking, points out the strange figure. Both are confused and then terrified as they continue to see it. One can almost hear the fear creeping into their voices as they realize they are not alone. The woman wishes to head back, and that's when things get freaky. The figure does something and drops down low to the ground before leaping towards them. The thing's movements are jerky and unnatural, with noises disturbing so that no human would ever be able to make them. The family never imagined that it would jump and attack them. As they attempt to make a run for it, the camera slips from their grasp and falls onto the ground, still catching some of the noises echoing through the woods. Then the footage just cuts off. The real question that haunts anyone who sees the footage is, did the hikers make it out alive? Or was something much worse waiting for them in those woods? The fact that no one ever came forward to claim the footage only deepens the mystery. If they survived, surely they would come back to explain what happened, right? And also, what was this translucent but eerily dangerous being? What's your take on it? Number 1. Bike Rider's Paranormal Encounter. Many bikers enjoy riding the trail since it's full of thrill and a break from the pressure of usual life. You only have yourself, an open path, and the freedom to ride at your own pace. However, some motorcycle riders coming through the woods come across some pretty wild and dangerous stuff. I'm referring to huge creatures, strange objects, and even booby traps. But what this biker found was something terrifying. He was cruising through the woods as he was alone, with only peaceful trees and nature all around him. But as he pushed further into the woods, things started to get weird. The air felt thicker, darker, and somehow tense. He seemed to be riding into a never-ending path from which he would never come out. He tried to brush off the feeling when he then heard something. Unusual noises. Noises that seemed too far away and made his spine go chill. And then all of a sudden he saw this unusual thing. A pale, almost ghostly figure standing among the trees in the distance, looking completely out of place. His instincts screamed that it was not good and that he was in grave danger. Could it have been some creepy creature or maybe a ghost? He could not tell for sure, but it felt as though he had had a paranormal experience. Not losing a second more, he turned back his bike and sped away from the place as fast as he could. What was that thing? What really occurred within those woods? Bonus clip. And after all these, we can't help but share this extremely blood-curdling bonus clip with you. Warning, don't watch it if you're faint of heart or afraid of jump scares. In 2024, the X-account Dead by Daylight posted a video that was enough to make anyone's skin crawl. The video, shot in a found footage style, is presented as completely unedited, which makes everything that happens feel even more real and terrifying. It starts off simple enough. A camper is seen lying in a sleeping bag inside of a dimly lit tent. The night seems quiet, but that calm is shattered when strange noises begin to pierce the silence. Footsteps pacing outside the tent, and the sound of low, guttural growls that echo in the wilderness. The camper, clearly on edge, grabs a flashlight and starts recording. His voice was shaking as he whispered into the camera, trying to make sense of what was happening. The growls get louder, and it becomes clear that something, or someone, is getting closer. The growls are so close now that it almost feels like whatever is out there is right on top of him. And then things get even worse. You hear the unmistakable sound of a zipper being slowly pulled down. The camper could never even imagine that this could happen. But he keeps on filming, holding his breath, unsure of what's about to happen. The zipper moves just open enough for a narrow gap to form, and through that crack, he catches a glimpse of a shadowy figure standing outside. It's hard to make out, but the feeling of being watched is intense. And from that look only, you could tell that it's some kind of monstrous being. And then, without warning, the figure suddenly lunges forward, crashing into the tent with terrifying speed. The camper's camera tumbles to the side, and all you hear is chaos. Rustling, muffled screams, distorted noises, before the footage suddenly cuts to black. Whatever happened was beyond any imagination. The jerky and shaky look of the creature that we got, it didn't look like something that we know. The video ends in eerie silence. No answers, no explanation. What happened to the camper? We never find out. That's what makes it so creepy. There's no clues or no resolution. The unsettling realism of the video just serves as a chilling reminder of just how dangerous the wild can be, especially if you're out there all alone. After watching this, would you like to go into the woods by yourself like him? Tell us in the comments. And for more chills, just go and watch our next video.